Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Today's episode, we are ranking the top 80s sitcoms. Rad.
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy.
Just because you put your makeup on with a butter knife doesn't make you Tammy Baker.
As long as we got each other.
Heard that every Tuesday growing up.
Sharing the laughter.
Welcome back to the twerk ethic. Talking about Bangarang, Peter! Which now I know is from Hook because we were not recording
Right.
when you did it the first time.
Yeah.
We didn't get too far in the episode, but one of the things that we talked about that I want to make sure we do when we're recording is me talking about your memory. And I've always been
I forgot.
Yes. I've always been impressed with the, how do I say that? The accuracy of your memory. It's not just that you remember things or that you say like you can say something enough where I get it.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you quote verbatim and you're good at impressions and you're good at like remembering a song that you've heard once. Like you could probably get on and play the drums. Like,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Where do you
Depends
think?
on the song.
Where do you think this comes from? I mean, and have you noticed this
Yeah.
about yourself?
Yeah. Well, it was told to me by somebody. I think they were actually talking into like to a general audience that
Okay.
if you're a musician and you remember stuff, it's usually in cadences. So if I hear like a certain tone,
You do magic?
yeah,
Oh, musician.
you
Okay.
could read minds.
Not magician.
Right. Well, there's one right there. You can read minds.
Yeah, exactly.
From Zoolander.
Yeah.
Now, if you were to say you can read minds,
You wouldn't remember that.
yeah, I wouldn't point it out right away. But if you did the whisper and everything, I'd be like, oh, okay. But it's just the cadence of it and the tone and whatever goes
But
in here.
you can also, well, speaking of the cadence, like you can also weirdly do, like when we did the sports announcers,
Yeah.
like Skip Carey, do Skip Carey.
Oh, yeah. Chipper Jones and the Braves.
That's amazing. I can't. That's just unbelievable to me.
Yeah, it's
Like-
just, yeah. It just gets locked up in there and then I try it.
I can't believe you could do Skip though, because that's
Okay.
very local.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
very specific.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's good for shows like today.
Okay.
That you can quote movies because
Yeah.
today we are doing, it's not movies, but we are doing 80s sitcoms. And we've been in the 90s.
Yep.
We love the 90s.
Great time.
It's my wheelhouse.
Mine too.
Mainly because I was alive for
True.
all of the 90s.
Yeah.
I was alive for the latter half of the 80s,
Yeah.
where you were alive the whole decade.
I was alive the whole decade.
So, but I had to do
78.
I had to do a little more research just because,
Sure.
I wasn't there. So before
Yeah.
you guys come at me about like, how could you possibly forget?
You stay away from him.
Thanks. Thanks for protecting
I mean
me.
it. I'll knock somebody out.
Okay.
I love everybody.
Uh,
Especially Lauran
Just
Jbara.
She's a bitch.
when you're upset that I left out just know that a lot of this comes from my own research from like,
Sure.
YouTube reruns,
Yeah.
streaming it nowadays on like Netflix, reading. A lot of it doesn't necessarily come from,
Reading Rainbow.
from my existence in the 80s.
Butterfly in the sky, take a look, it's in a book, a reading rainbow.
But I do love the 80s.
Yeah.
And so the next
Oh,
few
you
weeks,
told me. Well, you love the music of the 80s too, which
I love a lot about the 80s.
80s pop music man, cannot be touched. There's something about it, man.
80s
It's so
pop. I love hair metal.
good. Yeah.
I love the 80s movies, music,
Yeah.
TV, commercials.
Yep.
Maybe this is why I love it so much, is because I just wasn't there.
Hmm.
And so I can look back
Yeah.
and just be like, wow.
Well, you're not wrong. Because I was in the 80s, or I lived in the 80s.
And it was awesome.
And it was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just to tell everybody,
Yeah.
the next several weeks, we're doing 80s themed stuff.
Yeah.
So we've been in the 90s, but we're going to do 80s, and we will get to other decades too.
Yeah.
But today,
Oh, for sure.
today's Rushmore is the 80s sitcoms.
Sitcoms.
You now do this thing where you try to scare me or interrupt me,
Yeah.
and it works.
So far, so good.
All right. Rushmore, just like Mount Rushmore, top 4, in our opinion. You know, we're not agreeing, like we're not trying to come up with the collective Rushmore.
Right.
I have a Rushmore, and you have a Rushmore that is subjective to our own opinion.
Yeah.
We'll
Very subjective.
round robin, round my mom,
Right.
and we will go 4, 3, 2, honorable mentions, and then 1. You got your list?
I do. I got it right here. Yeah. Another cadence.
That just reminded me of it. That's true. Yeah. That's a good point. I'm going to start paying attention to this now. When
You got it right here. Yeah.
You ain't going to remember that.
Nope. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Let's dive directly into the 80s. Number 4,
That's me diving.
Nathan.
Number 4, 80s sitcom.
What you got?
Who's the Boss?
Who's the boss?
And I also picked this because of 2 things. Great theme song. And Alyssa Milano, First Crush.
First crush?
First Crush.
I remember us talking about it when Dustin was on. Dusty Summers.
Ooh, Nate, you need to stop that. We used to play in church together.
We're going to do. Yeah, hey, you like 80s music?
Do I like 80s music?
Right.
I mean, does Tony Danza like cleaning up for Judith Light? Come on now.
There's more to life than what you're living.
Bing, bum, bum, bing, bing,
I'm going to be like,
bum,
now,
bing,
everybody
bum.
liked Felicia Rashad, but I also had a thing for Judith Light.
Okay.
Right?
Am I alone?
No.
That woman fine.
There
Were times lost a dream or two. And at the end was you. That flute was going nuts.
So that was what was the other? Oh, the theme song. Okay. You said First
that
Crush.
and Alyssa Milano, cute as a button.
Well,
So,
I said this last week when we talked about
and Mona was hilarious.
Halloween. What was the last Halloween? Non-scary Halloween movies.
Oh yeah.
It was true of my last one, but it's also true of my list today.
Huh.
All 4 of mine have really cool theme songs.
Yeah.
Like some of them are just pure.
Mine
They're
do
so
too.
legendary that,
Oh yeah.
and I feel like
For sure.
maybe that was part of the sitcom recipe.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have that
Everybody had an intro.
intro.
And they were all basically a minute long.
Yeah.
And I was just like, if you had something catchy, you were probably going to make it.
So here's one of
Plus,
those
you had to have a good show.
one of those moments that I was telling you that we would cross into.
Yeah.
I've never seen an episode of Who's the Boss.
Okay.
I know the theme song.
Mhm.
I've seen some clips,
Yeah.
but I've never seen an episode.
Yeah.
So
I've probably seen in maybe 2 or 3 seasons.
that's a
worth.
lot. That's a lot, though.
So yeah. But then after so many years, I was just like, eh.
but wouldn't you? Okay,
But that was with every
here's
sitcom
another.
when I was a kid.
Here's another thing of how the times have changed.
Yeah.
That was pretty normal
Yeah.
of any show.
Yeah. Sure.
Like you watched what was on TV.
yep.
You know, you didn't. Nowadays, you go, all right. You would look up Who's the Boss on whatever streaming platform. It's like, all right, they got 10 seasons.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm just going to binge watch all 10 seasons.
Sure.
But back in the day, maybe you didn't even hear about the show until it was in its 5th season or something.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you start watching.
I mean, it was kind of true with The Office.
Yeah,
I didn't know about it until it was in its 3rd season.
exactly.
So
It's just a different. That was a different.
And
world.
then I got to rent from Blockbuster,
yes,
and that's how I caught up with The Office.
so good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Blockbuster. Wow, what a difference.
Wow. Wow.
Wow, what a difference. Blockbuster Video.
I think this is a good transition point.
Okay.
If I can go to my number 4.
Sure. You can.
Talking about the intro, just holy cow, nostalgic.
Yeah.
And that is Growing Pains.
Electric drums personified. Oh, here we go.
That's the other thing. 80s guitar is undefeated.
Yep.
It's undefeated.
Yep.
When you hear it, you go,
I agree.
yes, God. Plus,
Thank you for
Listen.
this person.
every theme song I got in my list is good.
Yeah,
But
me
that-
too.
But that one's my favorite. Because that's
It's a good one.
sort of, and I'm not going to show it on here because I'm not committing, but this is the thumbnail that I have made already for this episode. Is that awesome or what?
Nice. Leo. I forgot about Leo.
Well, that was my next bullet point, if you will.
yeah.
Was that Leo was Luke? I think what's his name?
It was their cousin, right?
Yeah. Well, no, I think he was. I think they adopted him. He was like homeless.
Oh, orphan. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Forgot about that.
I totally forgot about it. But
Young Leo.
such a okay. So
Man.
this was 80s, but one of the reasons it made my list was the reruns and the syndication,
Sure.
which was through the 90s and the 2000s.
Oh, yeah. It was on there for a while.
So like I actually did get to watch this all the time when I was in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it
all the time.
sorry. But she had Kirk
remember-
Cameron, Alan Thicke.
Yeah.
That father-son relationship was pretty special.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. And
The Seavers, right? Is
Yeah, the Seavers, yeah. Mike was the quintessential cool 80s kid.
Yeah,
And I was just like,
totally.
oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And that's also the show that I found out about Bruce Springsteen.
Wow, really?
Yeah, because they talked about his new album and then they wanted to go to the concert. Or Mike did.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
Just like, wouldn't you say Growing Pains, like the image of it, even them standing out in the intro in front of that like picket fence or whatever.
Yep.
It's like that is sitcom.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
I
don't
wonder if
know.
that house still exists. That would be cool to look up.
Yeah, it's true. I will look it up.
But, when you have time.
I don't have the time right now.
Gotcha. All the time.
All right. Yeah, it's my number 4, man. Just
I love it.
I loved it, dude.
Yeah, it's a
Just
great show.
So feel good and just
Yep.
Okay.
Ooh.
We're on to Cooley's number trace. Number trace, which is number 3.
Yeah.
I know you didn't
Oh, yeah.
probably struggle with
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
I
What
didn't
you
know
got? 80s sitcom.
that. 80s sitcom was a comedic duo of Carson Laddie and Balky Botacamus. Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers.
Yep.
Nice. Another one that I just
The OG,
I'm not sure how
and-
much I've watched.
which is responsible for Family Matters. So,
That's what you were telling me. She was the elevator operator.
Yeah, Harriet.
Okay.
So that was a spinoff of that show.
Tell
But
me
Perfect
about
Strangers.
Tell me about Perfect Strangers.
They had Balky was from where was he from?
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes the world looks perfect. Nothing could be arranged. Sometimes you just get a feeling like you need some kind of change.
Tell them, dude.
No matter what the odds are this time, nothing's gonna stand in my way. My heart like a long lost friend. Of course, standing tall on the wings of my dream, rise and fall on the wings of my dream.
So good, bro.
Another why.
Dude, you nailed that.
Another reason why I freaking rated this show was because the theme song was so good.
Gosh,
I think there's another Miller Boyette production too, which made Full House, Family Matters.
What do you mean?
Miller Boyette, they're the two dudes that it was their production company. I think it was the same.
You talking about they had a different intro?
No. They're the same production company that brought Full House.
Oh,
or the writers.
I got you.
Yeah. Well, it was a production because it was called Miller Boyette production. Yeah. So, and it had all the yellow writing. So I was like, oh, this is their show for sure.
That's what you got.
And they stuck with it.
That's what I'm going to put in the thumbnail.
There you go.
That's how you recognize these shows.
And the physical comedy between Larry and Balky, so good, man.
Man, you nailed that.
Now we do the dance of joy, and I can't remember it, but
Now we are so happy we do the dance of joy. Hey! Hey!
but it was so good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah. I
Nice.
think
top notch.
the best part of this entire episode was me getting to experience you sing that.
I'm surprised I remembered as much as I did.
You nailed it, dude. I'm like, holy crap. And then also the video like cut out and it still stayed on. So,
I'm like, I don't
awesome.
need that. But maybe I do.
all right. My number 3.
Yes, sir.
My number 3 is a show when you became an adult, it became funnier and a little dirtier. And that show, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Golden Girls.
Ah, nice.
So- This is
Thank you for being a friend. Travel down.
you know what? Let's play our version.
All right.
So Cooley and I, when Betty White passed away, rest in peace, legend.
Mm-hmm. Recipes, all of them.
Yes, but when she passed away specifically,
She was the last one.
we wrote the song
Yep.
as a tribute. And, as we do, we take a song that's not rock and roll and we make it rock and roll.
We do.
So please enjoy Cooley and I covering the Golden Girls theme song.
Thank you for being a friend.
Yeah.
Travel down the road, back again. Your heart is true. You're the proud and the confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest difference.
I love this part.
And the crowd attached would say, thank you for being a
I mean, I for one think we rocked the absolute crap out of that.
Oh, yeah. And the sustain at the end.
That's awesome, dude.
You can go away, have a bite, sustain.
We're gonna post. I realized I never posted the actual video of that on YouTube, so we're gonna post that too. But that again,
That'd be a good one.
Like, what a show!
Yeah.
What a song!
So funny.
So
And I was too young to watch that one.
I know I've watched a lot of this in my adult years.
Yeah. Oh, TV land.
And really, the only thing I wrote down here in my notes was, obviously Betty White was hilarious, but to me, it was Sophia's burns.
Oh, my gosh.
There's
so
three.
good.
There's 3 that I wrote down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was like,
Just because you put your makeup on with a butter knife doesn't make you Tammy Baker.
and then another one is
Jealousy is a very ugly thing, Dorothy. And so are you in anything backless.
God. And then
ruthless, bro.
what they were talking about, they were, I don't remember which characters, but they weren't talking to Sophia. They were on their own, and they were like talking about how she should smoke more.
Yeah.
And she said, no, you should smoke only after sex. And Sophia goes,
Good idea. One pack will last her a lifetime.
anyway, she was
Wow.
just like, God, that
Yeah.
show. I think for
They were
me,
funny,
there's
man.
a couple things. This is a show that was also syndicated through the 90s. So I got to enjoy,
Oh, yeah,
I
for
got
sure.
to enjoy it a lot.
It's yeah.
But
And you can still stream it.
I didn't really enjoy it until I became an adult
Yeah.
and realized that this
Yeah. I mean, it was made for adults. I mean,
Yeah.
It was 4 retired women who bought a house down in Florida, and they're just going to talk about adult things.
Yes.
That's it. And when you got older, hilarious.
also, that reminds me of, definitely wanted to say rest in peace to Matthew Perry,
Oh,
because
man, that was tough.
the reason that made me think of that is
Still tough.
they said that the cast of Friends are now getting into the age of the cast of the Golden Girls.
Oh, wow.
And I texted you guys this. I was like, that's weird to think about. Like, if someone was 26 years old when Friends debuted, they are now 55.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
blows my mind
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know.
It's so
time is
weird.
just weird.
Yeah. It's the gap. So it's like we think of like World War II happened such a long time ago, and it did. But for the people who lived, there's still World War II veterans that
Yeah.
live. There's not very many of them.
But there's still some, yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like, so to them, it probably happened yesterday, or it feels like it anyway. So that's, but those, when you bridge those gaps, you're just like, whoa,
I know.
that's not very
It's crazy, dude.
away.
It's crazy. And,
Yeah.
he was 54,
Yeah.
which is that's just insane. So,
And
we
the
could go on.
Funniest dude.
Oh my gosh.
So funny. He's basically the reason why I started watching the show.
Yeah. I think I know this will offend a lot of people, but to me, he is the only reason I like the show.
Yeah.
I mean,
He was the funniest.
he was the funny guy.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
But
drawn-
yeah,
I was
we
drawn
could
to
do a
that.
whole episode on that. But
Yeah.
rest in peace to that guy. I read his book.
Oh,
Very
okay.
sad.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. So it's not surprising
Went through a lot.
that this happened to him,
Yeah.
but it's definitely depressing
Oh,
that
for
it
sure.
happened to him. So,
Yep.
Anyway,
Such a young age.
that was my number 3. Number 2, 80s sitcom, Nathan Cooley.
It's been mentioned. Growing
Growing Pains.
pains.
Is there anything I didn't mention?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike's friend. How he got away with this, I have no idea. But his name was Boner.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
How did they get away with that?
Because the
nobody
dad-
said anything.
And it was like Ed and Boner, right? Ed was his other friend.
Ed was the other one. Yeah.
Because, yeah, you're right. Because
Eddie and Boner.
not only just him, but the parents had to say it.
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, Mike, Ed and Boner called. They said they can't go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Boner's coming over.
Yeah.
Boner Stabone, bro. I love
Was
it.
that his last name?
Stabone,
Oh,
yeah.
my God. Boner Stabone.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't make that up.
Nope. Well, apparently
Oh.
you can, but who made that up was a genius.
Boner Stabone.
But I mean, people, even back then, man, it's like you weren't offended by that
No.
because people didn't think that way back then.
Well, you want to talk about offensive? My number 2 is,
Oh yeah.
we'll get there. But,
But I remember having a little bit of a crush on Carol. I thought she was cute, and she was supposed to. I think she got proposed to or something like that. I know they had a date on top of the Empire State Building, and they looked out over, and that's where the obsession with New York City
okay.
probably came into my world.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are they talking about? Because
Yeah.
I'd never been there.
Yeah.
So,
Makes me feel better that Growing Pains ended up being your number 2 because It was my number. Well, actually, it wasn't on my list.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, dude, when I think about 80s sitcom, like this is the one that just,
Yeah.
God, especially that theme song, man.
Yeah. So good. And it was later changed to a acapella group, which is great too. Really good.
I think I should hear this right now.
Mm-hmm. You can probably find it.
Show me that smile again.
I gotta.
Is it YouTube?
Can I voice a pet peeve?
Sure.
Those kind of acapella people drive me nuts.
Oh,
the
yeah.
ones that are like,
Oh, yeah.
ba, 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 like you're so like staccato
Yeah.
and boring and no. Do you know the person I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
like you're very
sure.
classically. It's like chorus.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in the chorus class.
Yeah.
That kind of
Oh, dude,
that
yeah.
kind of acapella sucks.
Yeah.
But like, anyway,
Yeah.
maybe season 7.
Let's go.
Luckiest dreamers who ever.
Oh, get out of here, dude! I picture myself
Can't change.
slick back, moosed hair, wife beater.
Oh my gosh. 80s was
Dude.
such a moose generation, bro.
wife beater, driving in my black like T-bird. You know what I mean? Just
Yes.
and the sunset
Mm-hmm.
is there, and I'm just here we
Yeah.
go.
We can take anything that comes our way. Baby, rain or shine, all the time. We got each other, sharing the laughter.
That is so insane.
So good, bro. I don't know who that group is, but
That's the opposite of what I was complaining about. Okay, so now, nice,
Yeah,
man.
Heard that every Tuesday growing up. And it
So
was-
good.
Oh man, it was amazing.
Well, now my number 2 is 80s and 90s. It's hard to find a show that was just 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like either started 70s or ended in 90s. Anyway,
Yep.
my number 2, this show was always on when I was a kid too. Again,
Okay.
syndication.
Sure.
Ed O'Neill himself, Married with Children.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice.
Again, like freaking theme song.
Oh, Al Bundy.
Love and marriage, go to.
Yeah. They're like a horse
and carriage. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know.
You can't have one without the other love.
One of the
Sorry.
reasons I picked this is because this was an example of something that can't be on TV right now.
Yeah.
And I I really miss this about comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not you agree with it, comedy should be allowed to have no rules. That's what I think.
Yep.
And if
The best
if
ones
you're
do.
not and if you're not laughing,
Yeah.
then it's just mean.
Yeah. Right.
Otherwise, it's a good joke.
Yeah.
And
For
man, like some of his insults were
The old shoe salesman, right?
yes.
I didn't grow up watching this one.
One of my favorite
too young.
shoe store, I guess, insults. I saw a clip of this. Was the lady was trying on a pair of shoes, and he's like, "What do you think about this?" And she's like, "I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this shade of blue." And he goes, "Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to turn you around and have you look in the mirror, and I'm going to start choking you around the neck. And when you start turning the shade of blue that is your preference, then just say moo." And, I mean, he's just the most miserable. But it was just,
Yeah.
and he had like
He's ruthless.
he was in the most miserable marriage thinkable.
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Yeah. For sure.
Because there's another one that he was like, someone asked, when did the Cubs win the World Series last? And he goes, 1908. And Peggy goes, you can remember that, but you can't remember the year we were married? He goes, Yeah, it was 1908. He said the only difference. He said the only difference was baseball was interesting. Anyway,
Wow.
they're the opposite of
the-
what your marriage should be.
Sitting on the couch and hand
Yeah.
his pants, bro.
Yeah.
He's at home.
And Christina Applegate.
Oh my gosh.
That
Every
was-
time she walked on the set, all the dudes in the audience was like, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they just let it happen. They're just like, that's fine.
And he had
part
a
of the show.
he had a men's club called No Ma'am. Do you remember this? It's the acronym. It was basically like an anti, it's like a man's club, and it was like an anti.
He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but it was No Ma'am. It stood for
ma'am.
It stood for National Organization of Men Against Amazonian Masterhood. Anyway,
That's amazing.
this show could not be on TV today,
No.
but God, I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, that's great. Al Bundy, man. He was the best.
So let's do rock, paper, scissors for honorables.
All right, then.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Go ahead, Nathan.
Alf. A Different World. Yeah. Cheers. Silver Spoons. Benson. Give Me a Break. Charles in Charge.
Oh, yeah.
Different Strokes. What you talking about, Willis? This one almost made my top 4. Family Ties.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. I just didn't watch a lot of that one.
Yeah.
I dealt with more grown up
Okay.
stuff. So,
My honorables, The Cosby Show.
uh,
It's one of the greatest shows ever.
Yep.
And it just didn't quite make my list, but just know
I got
it
you.
was almost
yeah.
there for me. Alf, I also put Family Ties. The latter half of Three's Company was in the 80s.
Yeah.
And The Wonder Years started in the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a good
I
one.
wasn't allowed to watch that show.
And then Different Strokes.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Good stuff. Three's Company should have been there too for me.
Number 1, Cooley. I know what this is.
Yeah.
80s. I just because I know you.
Yeah.
Sitcom is.
Cosby Show.
I knew it. I knew it.
Cosby Show.
Because
It
you
was-
always talk about that show.
Yeah. It was the greatest show on TV, I think. It was well, it had a lot of music in it, so that's how I learned about Stevie Wonder. That's how I learned about Dizzy Gillespie. Who else? A lot of jazz on there.
Yeah.
Duke Ellington. He played a
Yeah.
song on there. Well, it was on the record, but you know.
And then obviously earlier on they did Nighttime is the Right Time with Ray Charles.
Ray Charles, yeah, for sure.
Did the dance on the stairs.
Yep. So good. So classic. Great family. You wanted to be a part of a big family all the time. So you got the Huxtables. 5 kids. Always people going in and out, friends and stuff. And that house was always packed. And seemed like it was filled with joy. So, and it was hard to not make that show number 1 because I grew up with it.
Yeah.
And it was a part of our
And I
household.
didn't grow up with it. And
Yeah.
it was something I watched later in life. And
Because it started in 84, I think.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Especially I think it's the pilot where he's like,
Yeah.
that's the dumbest thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard in my life.
They
No wonder you get D's all the time.
they took risks, and even in that first show, man, just him like Theo does that speech right before that, and people start clapping, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a great moment, son. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life. No wonder you get D's and everything.
Yeah.
I brought you in this world, and I'll take you
That's
out.
right.
So good, bro.
It's so good.
So, and the theme song, it changed. I think it changed almost every year.
It was instrumental too, right?
Uh huh.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the song.
But they always danced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but I think it was season 4. That was my favorite theme.
Okay.
So,
See if I can look it up.
yeah.
All right.
So that's my numero
I love it.
uno.
Dude. I knew it was your number 1. I knew it.
And Felicia Rashad, oh my gosh. So good. She was a great mother. She was awesome. And she spoke Spanish fluently. And it was ridiculous, man. She was awesome.
All right. Time for my number one.
JT's numero uno es.
Cheers.
Wow.
It's my
Okay.
best, to me, I think
Yeah.
this is the best show that I had ever seen. But, you know, again,
good
man,
one.
it's like what hits you?
Yeah.
What does it make you think of?
That was on for 11 years, too.
It's insane, dude.
Making your way in the world today takes
Everything you got.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name,
Bum, bum, bum.
and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
One of the reasons I like this show is we have this
Bring.
at the Cigar Lounge.
Yeah, we do.
If you've
That's our Cheers.
people
for sure.
listening, if you've ever watched Cheers, we have Cheers
Yep.
at our Cigar Lounge.
Mm-hmm.
People walk in and they're like,
Yep.
they remember what you had going on that week. They ask you about your life. Blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. It is
For sure.
everybody knows our name. Like,
That's true.
and you know,
And we know their name.
to me, two people on that show that I loved. I mean, they're legends that came out of that series. But
Yeah.
two characters to me was Cliff, the postman,
Yeah.
and Norm.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Norm-
For sure.
Like this dude.
And if you watch a Pixar movie, Cliff is pretty much on every one of them. He does a voiceover.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Norm quote. He comes in. They go, "What's shaking, Norm?" And he goes, "All four cheeks and a couple of chins."
Yes.
God, he was the best. And
so
then
good.
there's this one scene. This is so like complex or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But Cliff was talking about his presidential theory,
Oh.
and so there's three characters that come together on this part. There's Cliff the postman.
Uh-huh.
There's Sam, obviously, the
Right.
main guy.
Yeah.
And then
Ted
there's
Danson.
Coach Ernie, who was kind of like the absent-minded, dumb, lovable bartender.
Okay.
Always had the towel.
Oh,
over.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, he goes, you go back in history, you take every president, the numerical value of each letter in their last name was equally divisible into the year in which they were elected. Just something super whatever.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, who's going to get elected? Reagan again? He goes, no, I figured this out. The next president's name is,
By my calculations, our next president has to be named Yelnik McWawa.
and so Sam goes,
That's the stupidest name I've ever heard.
and Coach Ernie goes,
Sam, please, you're talking about our next president.
Sam, please, you're talking about our next president.
Defended a
I
big
just
league
picked-
person.
I just picked that moment because that's like a perfect example
a
of
good one.
Cheers of like how the characters intertwine.
Yep.
And that show just made me feel awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it. Obviously spun off to Frasier.
Yeah.
Um,
Which was another 11 seasons, I think.
yeah. Great show. Great
Yeah.
show.
I like it.
And that'll do it.
Or everybody knows your name.
80s sitcoms.
This is our Cheers with all of you.
Yes. Everybody knows our name, but we don't know all of your names.
Yeah.
But we'd like to change that.
We will.
Comment your name.
Yeah. All 3.2 trillion of you. Is there, how many people in the world?
I don't think it's
8 billion. Got it.
I was going to say, I don't think that's possible,
Yeah.
but all 8 billion of you, we expect a response.
Yep.
And you will break YouTube if you do that.
Yep. Let's do it.
Let's break YouTube.
Break YouTube. Break YouTube. Break YouTube. Thank you, Dark Continent. Good night.
We love you, Dark Continent. Good night.
It's the Twerk Ethics Show. It's the Twerk